This is Just Read It, and we're at the Laurelhurst Village in Portland, Oregon. And we're going to be talking about a book called Light Between Oceans, which is by M.L. Steadman. And before we do that, though, I wanted to introduce our special guest, Bill Goodpaster. He's an avid reader, and every book he's ever recommended I love, so he's said he's willing to do this. And then we have Caroline Miller, and Caroline is an author of a number of Gothic novels and a fabulous blog that I recommend. And I'm Susan Stoner, and I write historical mysteries about the Pacific Northwest. So, Bill, we'll start with you. What did you think about Light Between Oceans?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to thank you for inviting me here. And this is a new experience, so I'll try to do my best. I really loved the book, and it moved me very, very emotionally, actually. The characters were extremely strong, and you can't help reflect in yourself and others in situations in your life that you've been in similar, that you can associate with the characters in this book. The setting of the book was really unique also, the southwest corner of Australia, and then 80 miles further out into the ocean on an island where there was a solitary lighthouse.
Caroline, what was your thoughts about the book?
Okay, Bill, you and I are going to tangle. This is a book I definitely wanted to love because it's pure Greek tragedy. It's two women, one who finds a baby and knows there is a birth mother but doesn't want to give it up, and a husband who is torn with her motherly requirements but knows he's doing wrong, and then the birth mother who lives on the opposite of the island. And this is Greek tragedy. This is cut the baby in half. This gets to the gut. Isabel, who is the mother adoptee, doesn't want to let go of the child to the extent that she's willing to allow her husband, when they are discovered, be murdered or hung for the murder of the father, which didn't happen. And she's a real Medea character, and there are flaws in the book, but the basic thing is, I have a suspicion that some publisher said, you can't do this without a happy ending or the book won't sell, instead of allowing it to be genuine Greek tragedy. But I agree with you, she is a lyrical writer, folks. They don't come any better. But it's jumpy, and you can see the hand of a publisher here. And it sort of makes me angry. Now, I could be wrong. And also, I think the ending, it was too choppy. Isabel decides to save her husband at the last. We don't know why. And then at the end, the husband gets to meet the daughter that he gave up, and they go off to the beach like never on Sunday. So I don't believe this author, who is this skilled, though this is her first book, I don't believe this was her original intent. And so I'm crying foul. She may write me if she chooses and say I'm a fool, but no, this was tragedy that lost its mark.
Well, I liked the book, and I liked it in part because the characters were really strong. I especially liked Tom. He was a World War I veteran and had gone through the most horrific kinds of things, and in a way that rock out in the middle of the ocean was a place for him to heal. And my problem with it was, I have a hard time understanding this compulsion to have a child that belongs to someone else when there had to have been children in Australia who needed homes. And so I had a lot of difficulty empathizing with Isabel. I understood him because she'd had 3 miscarriages, and this baby miraculously appears probably when she was in the postpartum.
Yes, yes.
And they had had such a wonderful relationship before she had that reaction. But on the other hand, I didn't have a lot of sympathy for her, and not that much for him. But of course, then his own guilt took over, and he made sure that the child went back to the mother. So that part was good. I don't know about the tragedy versus, but the ending was, I thought, awful.
Yeah, contrived.
It didn't make any sense at all. 20 years pass and you hear that Isabel's died of cancer, and then 2 days later the girl turns up that they had in their lives for 4 years, and it just, I agree, it felt tacked on to the end of the book.
It was so artificial that this wasn't what the author originally envisioned. But Susan, you're not supposed to sympathize, I don't think, with Isabel. She is Medea. She is the classic mother who, out of a perverted mother love, will destroy everything to get her way. I'm sorry, Bill, go ahead.
I think I ignored a little bit of the structure of the book and the story, and I got caught up into the characters, and particularly Tom's character. And you've already reiterated that he went through a separation from father, mother, the horrors of World War I on the battlefield, secluded on off the coast of Australia for long periods of time. Finally met his love, a child, etc., etc. And I couldn't help thinking about how many people would have his character, his value system, his moral compass. And I started admiring him, and the whole story for me became him. And I thought about how little teeny wedges, how we insert little teeny wedges in ourselves, our relationships, politics, race, jobs, etc., and wonder why things don't adhere. They don't, because those things split things apart. And in the end, Tom, his values were split apart in a sense. He eventually found himself and became the upstanding and strong person that he was. And I just couldn't help admiring the type of person he was. I wish I had a friend like this person. I'd like to be his friend. And to me, the book was Tom Sherborne, and I thought she did a great job in portraying the strength of his character and his will.
Well, but he is the tragic figure of this novel. He loses everything and still ends up caring for the wife who is willing to see him die as she dies of cancer. It's really kind of an anti-feminine book because it shows motherhood at its most destructive aspect.
Well, except, 3 miscarriages all in a row in a time when the women's purpose was to have children. That part, I didn't get that sense. I did think that the writing was, as you said, lyrical. And I think just for the description of living on that island alone, the book was well worth reading, just as long as you're kind of prepared for the ending.
Are we ready to vote?
We get to wrap it up and we get to vote. If we drop red in the cup, it means read the book. If we drop blue, we say give it a miss. So, you want to...
Want me to start?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to go for red.
Caroline?
Well, I'm going to vote red too because I think things can be flawed and still be wonderful, and her writing alone is worth it. I think it is epic. I think it is classic. I think it borders on great tragedy. As I said, I think there's a publisher out there who really gave some bad advice.
And of course, I'm also voting for it. I recommend it, and it's another world that I never knew existed, and I'm sure most people who see this haven't ever thought of living in an island in a lighthouse 80 miles off of Australia between 2 oceans.
That's for sure.
Which, by the way, is where that career in airline, they think, went down,
right,
which was kind of an odd thing to be reading that book and realize.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, thank you.